This happened a couple of years ago, on Halloween night. That day had already worn me out. I work in community services, so events are kind of my thing, but they still drain you. Earlier that day, we had a big festival with parents bringing their kids in. There were games, costume contests, trivia, and even a kids versus parents dodgeball game. It was fun, but by the time I got home, I was exhausted. I planned to stay in for the night. About an hour later, my phone rang. It was my little sister. She asked if I could take her and my nephew trick-or-treating. Our parents didn't feel like going, and neither did my nephew's parents, so it landed on me. I wasn't in the mood, but I said yes anyway. I drove over to pick them up. My sister was still finishing her costume. She was dressed as Raven, with pale makeup that made her look almost ghost-like. My nephew was already dressed and ready to go, full of energy and excitement. After a while, the bags were full, and the kids were starting to slow down. We decided to call it a night and head back to the car. The car was parked about a 10-minute walk away. As we walked, the neighborhood started to quiet down. Fewer people were outside now. Porch lights were turning off. The energy felt different. That's when I noticed someone across the street. They were standing in a yard where the porch lights were off. At first, I thought it might be a decoration or someone trying to scare people. But something about the way they stood didn't feel right. They weren't moving at all. The person was dressed entirely in black. A hood covered their head, and I couldn't see their face clearly. I couldn't even tell if it was a man or a woman. What really bothered me was the way they were facing us. They were watching. I didn't want to freak the kids out, so I calmly told them to stay close to me. I said it casually, like I was just being careful. My nephew laughed and said it was probably someone messing around. My sister didn't laugh. She could tell I was serious. We kept walking. I glanced back again. The person was still there, same spot. Same posture. As we got closer to the car, I started hearing footsteps behind us. Heavy footsteps. The kind that sound like boots hitting concrete. I turned my head slightly and saw the same person again, now much closer. This time, I could see more details. They were wearing tactical boots, black pants tucked into the boots, and some kind of vest under the cloak. Their face was completely covered by a tight mask. This didn't look like a costume anymore. I quietly told my sister and nephew not to stop walking and not to look back. I said someone was following us and that we didn't want to draw attention. We kept moving. When we reached the car, the person was still coming toward us. That's when I realized this wasn't just someone trying to scare people for fun. I turned around and asked why they were following us. The person raised their hands slowly, like they were surprised by my reaction. Then they removed the mask. It was a woman, probably in her 27s. Her face showed no emotion at all. She didn't look scared or confused. She just stared at me. When she finally spoke, her voice sounded flat and unnatural. She said she was an undercover police officer. She claimed there had been a report of a break-in and that she had been checking the area. She said she followed us because she thought we looked suspicious. None of it made sense. If there was a break-in, why was she standing in the dark instead of checking the house? Why follow a guy walking with kids? And why the tactical gear and cloak? I asked her those questions. She didn't answer right away. She just stared at me, then her expression changed. Not angry, just annoyed. Like I had ruined something. She smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It made my stomach turn. She said, "If you didn't have that on you, this night would have ended very differently." Before I could respond, I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. People were stepping out from between the houses, 4 of them, all wearing similar dark gear. None of them said a word. They didn't rush. They didn't look surprised, they just stood there. In that moment, I realized this wasn't random. We hadn't just crossed paths with the wrong person, something else was going on. The photo showed my car, not a random car, my car, parked right outside my apartment. That's how I knew it wasn't over. I didn't even notice my hands shaking at first. I just stared at my phone, trying to make sense of what I was looking at. There was no message. No explanation. Just the picture. Taken from across the parking lot, like whoever sent it didn't want to be seen. The timestamp said it was taken that same day. I hadn't told anyone where I lived. That night, after I dropped my sister and nephew off, none of us said much. They went inside quietly. I waited until the door closed before driving away. I kept checking my mirrors the entire way home, half expecting to see headlights following me. The streets were empty, too empty. When I finally got home, I sat in my car for a few minutes before going inside. I scanned the area. Nothing looked out of place. No people. No movement. Just silence. I locked the door behind me and tried to calm myself down. I kept replaying the woman's words in my head. The way she smiled. The way the others stood there without saying anything. That wasn't random, it felt planned. A few days passed. I almost started to convince myself that it was over. That maybe they were just trying to scare us. Maybe it was some kind of messed up Halloween prank. Then my phone buzzed, unknown number, one image, that's it. After staring at the photo for a while, I called the police. I explained everything: Halloween night, the woman, the group, the threat, and now the picture. They listened and took notes, but their response was exactly what I was afraid of. Since there was no direct threat in the message, they couldn't do much. They told me to stay alert and call again if anything else happened. That didn't help me sleep. What bothered me the most wasn't what happened, it was what didn't happen. Why follow us? Why wait? Why back off? The only answer that made sense was the one I didn't want to admit. Something about me changed the outcome. After that, I started noticing things. A car parked a little too far back in the lot, footsteps outside my apartment late at night, someone standing near the entrance when I left for work. Every time I looked again, they were gone. I installed a security camera at my front door. I checked it constantly. Most nights, nothing showed up. But once, just once, I saw a figure standing at the edge of the frame. Too far for the camera to catch details, just a shape, watching. I went to therapy. I didn't want to, but I needed to talk to someone. I kept telling myself I was being paranoid, but the feeling never fully went away. You don't just forget a night like that. Weeks passed. Then months, no more messages, no more photos, no more signs. Life slowly started feeling normal again, but every Halloween after that felt different. When I see someone standing alone at the edge of a crowd, my stomach tightens. When I hear footsteps behind me at night, I don't brush it off anymore. I don't assume people are harmless just because there are others around. Because I learned something that night: not everyone watching wants to scare you. Some are waiting. Waiting for the right moment, waiting for the wrong person, and sometimes, the only reason you walk away is because something unexpected changes their plan. I don't know who that woman was, I don't know who those people were, and I don't know what would have happened if things had gone differently, but I know this: they didn't stop watching because they lost interest. They stopped because something made them hesitate, and that thought still keeps me up at night.